Today is a good day for free speech. The decision by the broadcast regulator Ofcom not to punish Piers Morgan and GMB for his remarks about Meghan and Harry's Oprah interview is good news not just for Morgan, but for anyone seeking to speak truth to power. Now, Ofcom were not saying that he was right about Meghan, but that he was entitled to his view, and that other opposing views were expressed in the self-same show. Today's verdict matters because if broadcasters and journalists like me have to self-censor for fear of punishment, or if they get thrown under the bus by their employers for simply doing their job and having an opinion, then major questions would have to be raised about whether we have free speech at all. The Ofcom regulators suggested that to stifle free and balanced debate around any issues of national importance would be chilling. That's the word they used. Chilling, and how right they are. High-profile, powerful, influential millionaire celebrities like the Sussexes cannot seek to insulate themselves from public scrutiny. This verdict is one in the eye to the woke warriors and the cancel culture caliphate. Here at GB News, we probe every public figure. We make them accountable and we hold their feet to the fire. No one enjoys diplomatic immunity on this channel, and they don't enjoy it on my watch. And with this important judgment from Ofcom, we can now speak truth to power on your behalf for many years to come. Today is a victory for all journalists, all broadcasters. We have a free press in this country, and in my view, it's the best in the world, in print, in broadcast and online. This verdict, for broadcasters in particular, protects that legacy for many years to come. Now, in my view, Piers Morgan was right to exercise journalistic judgment and question the royal interview. The cracks in Meghan Markle's story emerged more quickly than the roses on Oprah Winfrey's coffee table wilted. This is a bad day for the likes of the Sussexes, who have discovered that you can't cancel British broadcasters and journalists from the luxury of your 16-bathroom Hollywood mansion. It turns out that this self-obsessed pair of whingers do not dictate the terms of British broadcasting. To uphold these, let's be honest, politically motivated complaints about Piers would be a direct challenge not just to free speech and a free press, but it will be a clear and present danger to our democracy itself. Now, I've had my run-ins with Piers Morgan. He's ranted more than once on his programme about me, and we disagree about a lot. But I defend his right to the death to have his view, and I can have mine. And you can have yours. That's what living in a free country looks like. Today is a major setback for the woke mafia, the swivel-eyed, keyboard-thumping cranks who want to shut down debate and shrink the national conversation to their ever-changing, ever more narrow ideological narrative. With this positive decision, freedom has been restored, and cancel culture is well on its way to being cancelled. Let's talk about politics. With the sun cream still caked onto his tan forehead, holiday-loving Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab was grilled by MPs about the government's handling of the Afghanistan crisis. I'll spare you the gory details because that's 2 hours of your life you'll never get back. Mr. Raab said that the intelligence underestimated the speed with which Taliban would take over the country. Take a look.
The central assessment remained until late that the deterioration would be incremental. I think, in fairness, that is something which collectively, across allies, clearly the assessment that they would not be able to advance at that speed was not correct. And we'll need to look and assess about why that's the case.
We did not anticipate the speed of the Taliban. No sugar Sherlock. In other news, the earth is round, the sun rises in the east, and Kim Kardashian has a capacious hinterland. It's all well and good that he's Foreign Secretary, but I think he took the idea of clocking up air miles in the job a little too literally. Having taken keen advantage of the all-inclusive holiday buffet, the suspiciously bronzed Foreign Secretary, achieving a rare shade of Trump orange, should have got back to work sooner when it was clear that this crisis was unfolding. As a result, he may well now be enjoying a prolonged holiday, not of his choosing, one that doesn't end on the backbenches. Although there's no betting on whether Boris Johnson will actually fire Dominic Raab, because the Prime Minister doesn't seem to fire people. Priti Patel has had a nightmare in relation to the illegal channel crossings. Gavin Williamson has had a nightmare with the school exams chaos. And you hardly need me to tell you that things didn't play out brilliantly for Matt Hancock following that infamous CCTV footage that none of us will ever unsee. But none of those people, including Hancock, was shown the door. And then there was Dominic Cummings and his ill-fated day trip to Barnard Castle. The humiliation of the Rose Garden press conference at Number 10 wasn't enough to unseat Mr Cummings, the self-styled maverick genius himself. Perhaps Boris Johnson doesn't fire cabinet ministers because he's got enough skeletons in his own closet to fill a graveyard. But on this occasion, I'm going to give Dominic Raab a stay of execution. He is considered in Whitehall circles, contrary to the image portrayed recently, as being an assiduous workaholic, across his brief, tenacious, thorough and with an eagle eye for detail. We need people like that in government. The disastrous Allied withdrawal is not of his making, or even that of Boris Johnson, who reached out to President Joe Biden early in the crisis and whose call went unanswered. In fact, Dominic Raab was right to point out that the UK did brilliantly, evacuating 17,000 people out of the country. Just a few hundred remain, of course, a few hundred too many. But the image of the UK ambassador to Afghanistan, Laurie Bristow, staying until right at the end, until every available person had boarded a flight and at huge personal risk, is one image that will linger long in the memory, and it reflects the British side of the story. So love them as I do, given that they are our greatest ally, it's the Americans that own this mess. And it's in Washington, not London, where heads should roll. This is GB News. GB News.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.